Feels weird, just like giving an intro.
Why?
I don't know.
We haven't done a lot of quote unquote normal shows lately.
No.
There's been a lot of on the road stuff, sort of live from this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we just sat down and chatted.
So this is the second episode for Indy Pop Con 2015. If you didn't listen, last week was Casper Van Dien playing Cards Against Humanity. We don't really have any more recordings like that in the sense of
Sadly
playing highly volatile, offensive card games. Maybe that's what we need to do from now on. Is whenever we go to a convention,
absolutely,
we grab one person at Gen Con. Just
One
grab
person who
one
we
person.
know will do it. Like, it has to be the right... They have to have the right personality for it, for sure.
Casper was good.
Yeah, he was perfect for it.
He was really, really good.
Was
Oh, well.
so
We'll find out next year when probably some other convention will steal the idea.
Somebody
And
probably will steal the idea.
somebody's just going to make an entire convention out of it. They're just going to have a convention against humanity, and they're just all their celebrities have to play.
Trademark.
Yeah.
That's right.
That could be part of Schaab Con.
SchaabCon.
SchaabCon.
SchaabCon 2016. It's just going to be Tony and I talking about our dog and our kid.
This last weekend was 4th of July weekend.
Yep.
Speaking of SchaabCon, you guys were on vacation, weren't you?
Yes,
Yep,
we
we were.
in Michigan, in scenic Michigan. About it was
Five and a half
a
hours
little bit
away.
of a little bit of a trip up there. It's way up on the North Shore, up on the
Hint
north.
water.
But cool place. It was nice to hang out with.
It was very nice.
Nice to hang out with the family.
The weather was exactly what we
It was
anticipated
exactly-
it to be.
The
I liked
things
the
were
lake.
good.
The water was there.
The other things
Well,
that we did were great.
This is a routine. We do this a yearly thing where all of our family gets together. My brothers and sisters and parents, and we all get just take a week and just get up there
Just a
and
big
get at
old
it.
mess of Schaabs in a cottage.
And
In a cottage.
Cottage.
yes, and usually everyone, at least one night, everybody will get drunk and say things that you don't want them to
Oh
say.
God,
and-
truth night. Truth night is brutal, and you can't not answer the questions. Truth
Really?
night's the worst. I went into the bedroom crying after one truth night.
I know things about my parents that I never wanted to
Oh
know.
yeah, they talked about their sex life one truth night. It was insane.
Best quote ever from my dad. I won't say it here live because I don't want to embarrass him, but I got the best quote ever from my dad, and he'll never live it
And
down.
we'll never forget it.
It's pretty bad.
It'll stay with us forever.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean it was.
Truth night?
It's
Yeah,
entertaining.
well, I mean, just like getting together with your family. Like my family doesn't do that. We don't all get together and then go someplace like that.
Well, I have to thank my parents for that because they are big. They spearhead the getting together and making the reservation and making sure that everybody knows when it is. And
You guys need to call it SchaabCon. You guys need to get shirts
pretty
made.
much is SchaabCon.
It-
We call it Schaabcation.
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 Oh, well,
2K15.
Just
What
say
up?
2015.
I just said what I wanted to say.
Well, that was
Y2K15.
too and complicated.
I'm not letting go of the Y. The Y2K15.
See, that's extra.
AD 2K15.
You don't believe in Jeebus. Stop saying AD.
Well, I don't. I believe that Jeep. Okay, let's not get into it. But for all intents and purposes, yes, that's true.
I believe that
But for
Jesus.
anybody listening right now, yes, that's how
I'm
it
an
goes.
idiot.
I believe that
Oh.
Jesus
Oh,
was
oh.
a kick-ass calendar maker, and he started at 0.
All right, so this is episode
The
2
Aztecs.
of Indy Pop Con, and we're going to do a tour. We're going to do a twofer.
Yep.
This week, we're going to be letting everybody listen into a conversation that we had with Peter Spellos, as well as, did we say Sophie?
Yeah.
Sophie Aldred.
Yeah, Sophie Aldred. So I was trying to hold off last week from talking too much about the interviews and the people that we talked to.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I wanted to kind of give some sort of a lead in because, okay, we're definitely going to talk about Sophie. Peter is one of the coolest guys you're
Awesome.
ever going to meet.
Yeah, I think everybody who stopped by to meet him realized that very quickly.
Yes.
So genuine, and one of the most genuine people I think I've ever met. Like, you could tell he was just so happy to be there and like so excited. It was awesome. Like, and he was so personable, and I truly believe him when he said, like, if you reach out to me on social media, I will reach out to you. Like, I will answer you and I will talk to you. And I believe him 100% that he would.
He was neat. I think he reached out to Tony like a few days before the convention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he sent me a friend request, unsolicited, which is very cool, to kind of hear from him, like, hey, cool, because he was very active in the PopCon group on Facebook leading up to the convention, letting everybody know how excited he was to come and everything. So yeah, I'm sure that I commented on a few things, and I started to leave some geek stuff notes there as well to let everybody know who we are. So yeah, he reached out, and I said we'd love to chat, and he said absolutely, let's make it happen. And we talked pretty much all weekend. He was a great guy. Remembered our names the entire time, which I think is a true test of how into something you are genuinely, is if you remember someone's name versus like, hey guy, sure. So yeah, it was good stuff. He was
very, very neat. For those that don't know how like the interview process goes at a convention, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
Like the strategy of trying to allocate time when their core mission is to be there for fans is very, very difficult. And there are multiple times when you might be able to get a 3 or 4 minute little convo with certain people. I know from Peter, we got like 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Sophie, we got 15 or 16 minutes,
awesome.
Something like that. So I mean, they gave time to just sit down and talk with us about what they do, but also just the conversational stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not as familiar with Sophie. I know you guys were significantly more. Oh my gosh.
It was awesome.
It's Sophie. What was it like? I don't know, sitting down in the back room with the companion. Was that your first companion?
Yeah, that was when I started watching Doctor Who. It was in the late 80s, and that's Sylvester McCoy, Doctor Number 7, the 7th Doctor on Doctor Who, was my first Doctor. And the very first episode that I ever saw was the episode that you'll hear Sophie in her interviews reference, again, unsolicited, just kind of talk about, called Dragonfire, where she came in as the companion and kind of took over from the outgoing companion Mel. So yeah, Sophie's ace character was there, and she was, you'll hear her tell the tale of how she got on and how long she was supposed to be on versus how long she ended up staying. And yeah, it was surreal, getting the chance to meet Sylvester McCoy last year at PopCon, and then getting this year to be able to meet Sophie just kind of completed the circuit for me. It was phenomenal. She was a very understated part of PopCon on the whole, because she was there with Who North America, so she was over by their big vendor area, and I think a lot of Doctor Who fans in the current day and age don't really know who she is because they are only familiar with modern Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But yeah, for people who have been watching it for a long time, like myself, it was very, very cool to see her, and to see how just again, this word genuine is going to come up a lot. Just a genuine, very caring, like she wanted to be here. She didn't have to be here. She wanted to be here, which was very cool.
Yeah, I thought she was awesome, and I loved when she told us the story of how she got onto Doctor Who, and I won't talk about it a lot because you're about to hear it, but it was just so cool, and it's like stories I feel like that you don't hear much anymore. And it's just all very exciting, and you could tell even now like how excited she was when she got the word that she was going to be on Doctor Who, and it's just so cool. And yeah, she's just so nice. And we ran into her in the mall.
Yeah, that
her
was
arms full of shopping bags.
That was almost one of my favorite. Yeah,
it was awesome.
One of my other favorite parts of the weekend. Yeah, we were after Saturday evening, I think, is when we went over to the mall just to grab some food after the convention floor closed, and we were just at the mall food court, just hanging out. And here comes. I'm like, is that Sophie? And here she comes with just bags, just hands full of bags. And I said Sophie, and she came over and gave us hugs, and she was very genial. Even sometimes in that situation, people, celebrities, if you will be like, oh hey, and keep on trucking or whatever. They don't want to be bothered on their time, but she came right over, had a chat with us. Told us, regaled us with even more stories about how when she does conventions, she always brings an extra empty suitcase because she knows she's going to buy a lot of American clothes and take them back to England with her. So yeah, she was just an all around, a very, very genuine, very, very nice person. It was truly a pleasure to get to talk to her.
She popped over when Maggie and Emily were not at the table. They left to go get ice cream.
Lame. Oh yeah.
Yeah, like Tony was there, like trying to
waving frantically.
Yeah, because I looked
and say, "Get over here," while still like engaging conversation with Sophie and not making it feel really weird.
We were super far away, and all I saw was Tony chatting animatedly with a woman. And I remember I turned to Maggie and I was like, who is that? And Maggie was like, I don't know. And I was like, what are they doing? And then Tony goes, it's Sophie.
Yell
and I
across
was like,
the food court.
I'm coming.
Emily was like, that is not Casper Van Dien, so I am instantly upset.
It's funny. And she was so nice. She goes, all my clothes are American. That was a horrible accent. That's it.
It's hard to like do an accent like
It
right
is.
off the cue, isn't it?
Oh, I can't do them at all. Oh,
Troy can.
Yes.
Troy Baker.
he was funny.
Such a good-looking guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
You
So
say that a lot.
funny.
I'm starting to wonder
Yeah.
about you.
It's if I had to, if I ever had to venture that way,
Yeah.
Oh, it would
he
be Troy Baker.
He would probably be, yeah.
Not Casper Van
Not
Dien?
weird.
No,
at
not
all.
Casper Van Dien. I got
Make him feel better about
Yeah,
himself.
wow.
Why
no,
don't you?
Casper was. I could feel him going. No. I could feel the push. Troy though, there was no pushing.
Well, it's because Casper kept giving you really bad cards in Cards Against Humanity about your genitalia.
Yeah. I don't know how he got the crotchal hand, but every single card
Well,
had
yeah.
to deal with.
Well, we didn't.
And then his response. Yes. Every time.
Well, we didn't mention this last week, but when he came on stage, because we had already just to save time, we had pre-dealt everybody cards and everything. He sat down and he was like, "Oh, I bet you guys gave me all the worst cards." And we're like, "We swear we didn't." But then he picked up his hand and he had the worst card.
Literally the worst. And it was me who dealt.
Yeah.
And it's funny that he got all the penis jokes.
He got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I don't think you could ever. Well, we did like 4 rounds. I think we hit every racial joke
Oh,
that could have been
God.
hit. It was an eye opener.
Yeah, I don't think you can play Cards Against Humanity like, oh, I've got a really polite hand here. I mean, like everything's
No, yeah,
bad.
you have to
Everything's
know.
bad.
It's just what it is. That's what makes it so fun because it's equal opportunity offensive, first
Mm-hmm.
of all. And
Yep.
it literally forces you to be an asshole. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
funny. And especially nowadays when people are offended by way too many things. Like, I feel
Guess we
like
have to put explicit on this one too.
we should. I didn't
Well, we
say
haven't.
anything bad.
Yeah.
A-hole.
Who did I say that about?
She forgot a word that she said less than 30 seconds ago.
She,
Oh,
she-
just
she
now. I
blacks out when
just
she
said it.
curses.
I just said it.
She blacks out when she
Sorry,
curses.
I was
It's
just
okay.
really into what I was saying. No, I'm sorry. A-hole. Bleep hole.
You can't go back.
I just did.
We'll take care of this in post.
We don't take care of anything in post.
Yeah.
Ever.
I think America should just sit down and play one big game of Cards Against Humanity and get over themselves. That was my first order as president.
Oh, man, if you were president.
Emily Schaab for president.
I'd be moving to Canada.
Well, you can't move to Canada. Everything that you don't like about America is already happening in Canada.
But
like-
they're nice up there.
Well, then they say sorry a lot.
Sorry.
Oh, is it a-hole? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
oh, sorry.
HGTV is there. So
Yeah,
yeah, let's go
hoser.
there.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, hoser. Oh, sorry. Hoser.
I'm down with Property Brothers. All
Property
right, so
Brothers.
enjoy this episode with Peter Spellos and Sophie Aldred. And for those sound and audiophile techno people that listen way too closely, we had to record Sophie's in this little like ID closet in the back of the convention center, and there was this buzz that was happening. It was a very, very hot room, and there was this halogen light buzz. So you probably are going to hear it throughout her entire interview. I tried to get rid of as much of it as I could, but you're still probably going to hear some of it. That's what that is. Sorry, but it's still a solid. It's a great. If you like Doctor Who at all, and you like Sophie, or you want to like more Doctor Who, listen to it and enjoy it. Have fun. And everything in between. So, cool. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye.
Yay.
Okay, bye.
Sorry. Hey, sorry.
Suit up.
See, that's why I think that the podcast should have just been you facing away, because you would have had no idea what we were talking about the entire time.
We already say dumb enough stuff. We say dumb enough stuff without people knowing what we're talking about.
That would have been his Edward James Olmos impersonation.
My shoes or my toes?
Yes.
Everything.
Even more on the shoes.
Thank you. They are.
Pretty fancy. Almost too fancy for PopCon, but she's making them work.
But they're from Target.
Oh,
so-
then I'm going to need more than that next time.
Target is not a sponsor of Indy Pop Con.
Her alone.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
Thank you.
All right. He's not going to be with us at home for the rest of your life, so...
Well, maybe. You're
I
gone.
guess that's true.
Phone number, Skype, whatever you need, baby. I got you covered.
We have
See this?
the new Adopt a Peter program here at PopCon.
I'm ready. I'll adopt.
Oh, we've already started. I started recording.
Oh, great.
Yeah, no,
We
this is
just start. We
yeah.
are very random here, so...
Hi, adopt a Peter. 1-800-PETER, and then put a couple of letters in after that.
Peter.
Peter
You get like a
422.
pirate Peter.
Arr.
Peter.
You know, there's 2 letters in the pirate alphabet. Consonants are
Nice.
vowels.
Hey.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I do a lot of 6-year-old jokes, so just stay with me here.
So
That's
do
good
we.
because that's all I understand. So
my
you go
my
through-
favorite clean joke in the world
Sure.
is 2 cannibals are walking down the street. They see a clown. They eat him. Half hour later, one turns to the other, goes, "He tastes funny to you." That's my best
good.
clean joke I have.
That's a good one.
Thank
It's
you.
a solid
like it,
joke.
yeah.
It is a solid joke. You can tell it to kids. You can tell it to people who go, "All right, fine." You know?
we made the mistake of teaching our 5-year-old the worst knock knock joke in the world, and now that's all she has.
Oh.
Literally, the interrupting cow. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting.
Boo.
It's infuriating
All
after
the time.
12
So
times.
say
Did you
it to
see how
anybody.
excited he got about mooing? Like
No, I love it.
He was in your face. He was
Let me
ready
see which
to
one's
move.
on. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Sam and Janet.
Sam and Janet who?
Sam and Janet evening. You will meet a stranger.
That's a good one.
Nice.
I like that one. Yeah.
I don't know any knock knock jokes.
Now you know too.
I'm like and I'll probably forget both of them. Unfortunately, I'm really bad about knock knock jokes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. They just don't stick in my brain.
Just got 2, brother.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I know.
now you're with the program.
I have
Put
to
'em
listen
in
to
your
this
Rolodex.
podcast and like over and over and over and over again.
You can do interrupting anything that makes a noise.
That's true.
No,
So.
but the moo and the face you made was really worth
Pretty
it.
Yeah.
intense.
For all the
I-
listeners out there, Tony made a great face when he
It was
mooed.
great.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
very.
And then
Now,
the
can
and then
you
the then the big laughter kind of sold it.
I was really impressed
laughing
with
at his
myself.
own knock knock
Yeah.
joke.
Can you do interrupting mime next?
Yes, interrupting mime.
Oh, no, you're very
Yes,
heady.
yes, interrupting
That's
mime. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting mime.
Interrupting mime who?
Interrupting
this is
mime
the
who?
worst podcast I've ever.
But see, I got to the end, and that's the point. I'm not
we are
supposed to
recording the first visual podcast ever just for audio.
You all use your imagination.
If only we had the YouTube guys over here to help us sell this video.
Oh, fine.
thing.
Bring the young kids
Oh, right,
into my
yeah.
conversation.
I literally I couldn't even tell you that they exist because I haven't physically seen them because there's just been throngs of people in front of them. So I couldn't even tell you that they're
Nothing
real.
like the Beatles. When I was a kid and you watched all that stuff on TV.
Yeah.
Deb and I were talking yesterday. I have seen or heard nothing like this. And you know what? How do I ride that wave?
Yes.
You know, how do I get a little piece of that surfboard to get on there?
Amen to
Because
that.
it's,
Yeah.
it's the future.
It's insane.
You know, in so many ways, I'm a dinosaur, which is okay because in Jurassic World, dinosaurs are cool
Yeah, that's
again.
right. All good.
But it's a different world than the one I got into in show business first.
Show, yeah.
And I hate to say
Yeah.
show business because it sounds like I'm Shecky Green here, but it
Do you-
is.
Do you think it's easier now because of sources like YouTube, where somebody could just, if they have the urge, like the young lady that spoke with you was at Friday night, who was on the panel, and she was like, "Hey, can you guys take a listen to my stuff that I've got?" And then you listened to it, and then when we talked yesterday, you were like, "Oh, she's actually really, really good."
Absolutely. I think it's easier for them. I think the problem is you have to get through the chaff to get to the wheat. And there's so many people with just a recorder who fancies themselves a filmmaker, who's never gone to film school, who does not understand even the concept of storytelling. But guess what? 8 minutes, like we were talking this morning, Deb, 8 minutes is too long. You know, they're in, out, let's get cracking, as they said in West Side Story.
Right.
So I think it's a different world. And I think you've got to take time to find out where the interesting concept is. I was speaking to film people at breakfast this morning, and, you know, they're talking about how do you monetize this? How do you monetize this in a world? You know, I have my own podcast called The Aging Badass. It's not up yet, but it's about people over 50 who are making a difference. You know, how do I stay relevant in a world that doesn't consider me relevant anymore? You know, but you got to come up with the concept, I'm not done yet.
yeah.
That's what I told my mom when she went in for cancer surgery 15 years ago. I said, you're not done yet.
Absolutely.
And then after the surgery and she's fine, the anesthesiologist came out and said, Mr. Spellos, yes, I want to say something about your mother. I said, she's okay? She said, no, she's fine. But as I was putting her under, she grabbed my arm really tight, and she looked me in the eye, and she goes, I'm not done yet. And it was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
That at 94, she knew she wasn't done yet.
Awesome.
So I'm not done yet.
No.
I just have to figure out, as Sam Kinison said, where the food is.
There you go.
And I think in events like PopCon, which has been an amazing event, I mean, not only for all the fans who are wandering in, dressed like steampunk meets science fiction, but for guys like me that people remember, they'll bring over a video for me to sign, and they go, I loved you when I was a kid, which is a whole other thing I have to deal with. But I think it's the coolest thing in the world because they remember and they care. And how cool is that? You never know who you touch.
Absolutely.
And as an artist, especially as a voiceover artist, you kind of live in a bubble. You live with a hat on, a baseball hat, and I'm not shaving in the morning just like today. And you don't know who's out there. So I make sure I ask everybody their name and thank you and, grateful. And I just think it's important. And they'll remember, guys, or they won't. And either way, it's okay.
Yeah.
I've had more than my share of pie in so many different ways that, I'm very happy to be a piece of this pie. And folks in Indiana, just fabulous.
What was the name of your podcast again that's getting ready to
The
come
Aging Badass. We're going to drop it on iTunes in about a month. And I'm doing it with a girl I knew in kindergarten. And we're getting great people on it, not just entertainment people. We've had Townsend Coleman on and Beth Lapidus from... on Cabaret in Los Angeles. But a guy who changed his life, 27 years sober, got into CrossFit, special needs son, now he's a social worker for, dependency. That's the cool guys.
Right.
Entrepreneurs, people who are making a difference and going, I still have something to offer the world, as opposed to the world still has something to offer to me. I think you got to be of service. I think you got to flip that. Like you guys, how can I be of service to you? That's the first thing I said.
Absolutely.
Whatever you need.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not because just to get my brand out if I have a brand, but it's like you're the generation. When I'm gone, you carry on. And then hopefully you pass it on to some kid with a microphone and goes, how do you do a podcast?
Right.
And then you share that with them. And then you realize you're part of history.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, well, your mantra, I think, has already resonated through the convention because I'm a part of the PopCon Facebook group and their pages, and that's I've seen picture upon picture of people with you here at your booth saying, I met Peter, he's a phenomenal guy, we love talking to him. So yeah, your vibe has definitely resonated throughout the people here so far, which is great.
Thank my mom. Just be kind to everybody, talk to everybody.
Love it.
Thank them for, what they did for you, and I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. I'm really grateful for Deborah Williams Eckert, my handler, who is my best pal and carries my bags and just does stuff that no one's ever done for me. So if you're listening out there, Deb, and I know you're right next to me, I love you.
You can hear this again in a few weeks and relive the moment. It's perfect.
I'm coming back to Indiana. There's no two ways about that.
Oh, good.
Thank you, fans. I appreciate that.
Look at that. They heard the announcement.
Thank you very much.
You heard it here first.
And guess what? They're not cheering for me, I promise you.
No, it was actually for Deborah because that's who we're talking
yes,
about.
that's right.
You know what they're cheering for? Long's Donuts.
Amen to that.
And if you've
The
never had
best.
one, and I'm having 2 a day like aspirin right now, they're absolutely amazing. Just
perfect. Yeah, I see the box over
They
there.
are
It's ready to go.
amazing, yes.
You take 2
Deborah's
and,
got the box.
Take 2 and call no one in the morning because you're good.
And you know what?
So-
Have you been a good boy? Yes, Deborah. You can have a donut. Really? Only half now. Okay, honey.
It's a trained response. I love it.
I'm a chimp. That's what I am. Show me what to do, and I can repeat it.
You're Pavlov's Peter. I like this.
That's a whole other porno movie. All right, we don't want to get into that.
It's 9:30 a.m. We've gone there
You know
already.
the problem?
It's okay.
Every time I hear a bell, I look for a pretty girl.
Don't look at me.
No.
Don't look over here. You keep looking over that direction.
You are a pretty man. I got to say that. All right.
I don't take care of myself.
It's a curse, though.
So you mentioned Sam Kinison before, and I know that you've got a comedy background.
Yes.
Did you know him? Did you ever meet him?
I had a comedy club in New York in the 80s called Who's on First. It was a second-tier club. We had about 60 seats. But it was an amazing thing because I was in that milieu, if you will. And Catch a Rising Star would send us audience. When they were full, they knew that I was handling people who were young comics, some famous people, Larry David and Carol Leifer and all kinds of great people went through there. But I wanted to help the comics who I thought were funny that were not getting enough stage time in New York. So I've been blessed, and working in the comedy business is amazing. I was 16 and watching Abbott and Costello and Who's on First and Laurel and Hardy, and I knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be funny. And I wasn't athletic. I wasn't pretty, but I found out early on if you made the girls laugh, they loved you.
That's true.
So I was on to some.
Pointing at me like that's the only reason we're together.
No, you're pretty and athletic.
Oh
see?
well, you're too kind.
He makes the girls laugh. I can tell.
Yeah, they laugh at me.
Well,
So
join the club, brother. It's okay as long as they're laughing. That's all that matters.
that's all right with me.
No
That
press is
totally-
bad press. All right,
There you
remember
go.
that.
Did you and Dick Wolfsey? Because we're based here in Indianapolis.
Dick Wolfsey was my high school psychology teacher.
Says so right there.
Square business. I'm not lying. Hand
Yeah.
to God. He was 25 and I was 18 taking his psych class. Of course, at 18, 25-year-old guy is the coolest guy in the world.
Sure.
And we had a love of comedy together, and we would go to movies. In fact, I saw the Producers, the original, at his house at 18, and I knew what I wanted to be. I wanted to be Zero Mostel. I wanted to do work with Mel Brooks, and Dick became huge. Dick is Indiana TV royalty here.
Sure.
And he's a really funny man. And after the years, when I got this gig, I called him up because I read his column once a week. And he says, Spellos, you coming to Indiana? He says, I'll interview you. So he's been very cool. We did Who's on First, a really bad version on Wish TV. But Dick is great. Dick is absolutely one of my comedy mentors. We had dinner the other night. I met his wife. And I know, as an old guy, I really was taught a sense of history. Know what came before you, and you'll understand what you need to accomplish.
Sure.
And being here with my new friends and being here with Dick, it's I'm a lucky boy. I'm staring at a poster with my face on it, and it's frightening me. And all I can think is, that's my hairline? Really? That happened? I can't believe that.
Well, what's on the agenda for the remaining time that you're going to be here in Indiana?
I'm doing a panel that they're calling the Pete Spellos Experience.
Yeah.
Oh.
That sounds like another porno movie.
No, the best porno movie title was Bill Dever the other night, who said, you and I are starring in a movie called I Am Curious Buffet. And I promise I will footnote that, but I'm going to use that for the rest of my life.
Wow.
So I'm going to be here at the table, shaking hands, kissing babies, signing autographs. I'll do my panel. I'll be very grateful. I'll ask Deb very politely for another donut later on, and I'll limp around and shake hands with people. And Rupert from Survivor, what a cool dude.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, a brother of another mother.
Yeah.
And I know him for 10 minutes. He says, here's my number. When you're in Indiana, call me up. Come by the house. Stay over if you want.
You and Rupert seem like you could be relatives in some form or fashion.
We are. We're that same big guy, found a niche, and he's just cool. And Rashad from season 6 winner of Sci-Fi.
Yeah,
the
Face
only
Off,
man
yeah.
here with better hair than I. Well, everybody has more hair than I do, but just really, really cool people. And I got to thank Bill Dever and Brian and Beth Neely, and of course Deb and Shawnee Smith and Carl Doninger, and I'm leaving out names, and Babs and Frank and Tony and Bob. I don't know who they are, but I hope that covers a base somewhere.
Close enough.
That's good. Yeah, those
But
are good names.
just by thinking that, well, maybe this guy can do this, and then they saw how I embrace social media, and I met the fans. I Skyped with fans before I even got here, because I wanted to. Who are you guys? Tell me about you. Now I know their kids, and now I know more people who bring me Long's Donuts
you
when I'm in
go.
town. And it just, I'm an old comic. In front of nightclubs, I used to do studio warm-up for television. Mike, you see me, mic in hand, I'm home.
Yeah.
I'm this chatty everywhere, I promise you.
That's great.
It's
Yeah,
a
we
good
love
way to
it.
be.
Glad to be here, guys.
Yeah, we're
Thank you so
thrilled.
much.
I mean, it's genuinely a real pleasure and an honor to have you here. We
Thanks,
sincerely hope that you get to come back and see us here in Indiana
I
sooner rather than
think
later.
they kind of like me now,
right.
and I hope the rumors about doing a film here in September Get the donuts ready, Dip. And
Long's Donuts, the movie.
you know, if Long's Donuts don't hire me as a spokesman now, I will be. I put a picture of the donut on my social media and go, why did these people tell me about this? I would have come to the Midwest sooner. But yeah, I really hope they ask me back, and I would be honored to be a part of this.
Well, that's outstanding. Well, we don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, take more time.
All right, fine.
I'm good.
So
Is
what do
my
you think
coffee here
about...
yet, Deb?
So what do you think about Sharon Donuts?
I know her, Sharon Donuts. She was an actor, yeah.
She was in that film we were talking about.
What's her
Absolutely.
name?
Yeah,
And,
the Peter Experience, right?
If I may, she had very nice donuts.
Donuts
Thank you. Good
for
night. Drive
days.
safe, boys and
Bazinga.
girls. Try the veal, tip your waitress. I'm out of here. And I've touched just one of you. I'm not doing my job. Thank you very much. Yeah.
No, before we officially sign off, Peter, tell the people real quick where they can find you online so they can connect
They
with
can
you
find
as well.
me right here at booth 549, but they're never going to hear this.
right.
Peter Spellos at Facebook. Friend me. Tell me you're the friends of the Geek staff, and I will never, ever... No, I will absolutely make it stuff, Geek stuff. I'm old. I don't have my glasses on. I
all
can't
good.
read.
No
Geek
worries.
stuff off the cuff. It rhymes. She created the name of it.
Ready, take
Emily
a pause.
did.
Sure
Hi,
did.
this is Peter Spellos, and when I'm in Indiana, I listen to Geek stuff off the cuff.
Nailed
There's
it.
your teaser
Yes.
right there.
Perfect.
So Peter Spellos at Facebook, P. Spellos at Twitter, Susan at Instagram. No, Peter Spellos at Instagram. Please stay in touch. Let me know who you are and
Absolutely.
what you're doing.
What's your favorite social media? I mean, you're one of the very few...
Old guys, say it.
No, not old guys. But like celebrities that does social media on their own. Like I feel that a lot
First
of
all,
other...
I may be a Z-level celebrity, but thank you.
You're a
Thank you
celebrity in my eyes.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I
more
love
than-
that,
more
man.
than
I'm getting all
ours.
misty right now.
Have a donut. It'll help. Just dab your tears with the
you
donut.
have a donut on me. That's how that works this morning.
But do you have a preference? Like
Facebook.
Do you like Facebook
Only
the most?
because some of the kids are still there, and all the old people are staying on Facebook. I'm friends with people I grew up with 50 years ago, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I have dinner once a month with 10 friends from New Rochelle High School that we all get together. We've known each other since we were 12. I like Twitter, but as you can tell, I'm a little verbose. 140 characters, really? How the hell am I going to say that in 140 characters?
Long's Donuts is 10 by itself or 11.
That's it.
Yeah.
Long donuts. So Facebook is my media of choice, but literally I've only been on Instagram 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because my brother, who's a tech guy, said you got to get on Instagram. So I got that, and then 10 days ago, one of my fans in the UK taught me how to do memes, like pictures with the words
Sure.
on them. And this is like giving kid Long's Donuts and crayons and say, all right, go play. And so I became the meme guy on the PopCon.
I saw a few on
thing.
the PopCon page.
And, it was a little self-promoting, letting people know.
That's okay.
Pictures of Game of Thrones that said Spellos is coming. I just wanted to know that you're accessible.
Yeah.
So many, people, don't embrace this, or they have someone who does their social media. No. When you write me, it's me.
Right.
When you Skype me, hi, I'll put on pants. Hang on a second, and then we'll talk on the air. But yeah, no, I just think it's important. It's how the world connects now.
Absolutely.
Friends in the UK, friends in Australia, friends in Scotland. I get to speak to them and see them.
Yeah.
So I just think you have to embrace as many. Don't get me to chat whatever this and Tumblr. It's just too many. I got my drinks right here in front of me, and this is what I like.
Sure.
But Facebook, I'm on all the time because you can post the pictures. I can come up with a couple of funny lines. I can meet you guys and stay in touch.
Right.
I thank you, kids. I appreciate that.
They love the
Thank you very
Facebooks.
much.
They love the Facebooks.
God, I'm so full of poop, as we say to the 5-year-old. But yeah, it's this old dog is learning new tricks, and
I love
I
it.
just think it's cool.
Love it.
That's great.
Cool. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it, Peter.
Thank
Emily,
you.
thanks for joining us this time.
Oh, anytime.
No, and
Anytime.
by the way, you can't see how lovely her flip-flops are. I'll be right there, Mom. All right, they're calling us.
Tony, wrap us up.
But you.
Well, this is very conversational. I've already started recording.
Yeah, oh, okay,
So
cool.
We're just gonna go, you know.
Yeah, it's not really an interview. We like just talking. We like kind of...
Do you know what I like? I like
Yes.
your microphones with the different coloured leads. It's
Thank you.
fantastic.
I appreciate it. It's because I'm lazy. It's because
Oh,
when I'm
I
looking
see.
at your mic, I know, oh, she's there. She's right there.
Cool.
So it helps
well, it's
me.
brilliant. I've got a red one for
You
those
do.
of you who are listening. Yeah.
That's normally Tony's mic.
It's
Is
true,
it?
but
Yeah.
I'm
Sorry.
happy to give it up.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
Well, it's
so.
my football team is red and white, so I have to have red.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Still, I'm not a sports guy, but it still always kind of boggles my mind. Football in England,
Oh,
very
yes.
different.
Very different and very popular.
Oh yes.
In a kind of quite a fanatic, passionate way.
Mm-hmm.
A bit like Doctor Who, I guess. But
Yes,
yeah, amazing.
yes.
I mean, it's a big part of life. in
Did you
England.
play, or have you played?
Yeah, I used to play, which was very unusual at the time because girls didn't really play football. But I was a tomboy, so I grew up learning to play football and cricket as well. Two weird games that, although our football is becoming more popular here.
Oh yes.
But and actually, it got me a husband, so that's all right.
There you go.
He's a Liverpool fan and he loves football. And we were playing a charity match. I was doing a job, and I came on as a substitute towards the end, and we'd just got a penalty. So they put the ball down and said to me very patronisingly, "Now this is a ball, and there's the goal. You have to kick the ball in there." And I thought, I'm not going to say a word. And I did the perfect penalty, which was just into the corner of the goal.
Nice.
And the crowd went wild. And actually the team went wild. And they all came and jumped on top of me in a big pile. And my husband said his heart just went boom. That's the woman I'm going to marry.
That's
Adorable.
a solid story.
Yep.
That's a solid story.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of weddings and marriage, Tony and Emily, very, very big Doctor Who fans. But they had some... I'll let you guys explain it, because it was your wedding.
It was. I mean, it was. I mean, you can talk all about my wedding that you want. That's fine. I don't care. So, but no, we just got married last year. Last year, yes. Thank you. And we made sure, we had the whole 9 yards. We had the whole 9 yards. We do, we had a photo booth so people can jump in and take pictures and kind of have some fun. And with the photo booth, we had some cardboard face cutouts of our favorite people. Well, of course, Emily's favorite Doctor from Doctor Who is Christopher Eccleston, number 9. So we had his cutout. And of course, we would be remiss if I did not have my favorite Doctor, number 7. Sylvester was. He had his. So we had his cutout. So when we had the chance to meet Sylvester at last year's convention, we took the cutout along. We met him. We said hello. We kind of told him the story of where his head had been, and he just said, "Oh, well, that's lovely." And he signed it, and he said, "Tony and Emily, congratulations again. Love, Sylvester." And so it's nice to kind of have that connection through through real life into so it was fun because you never forget your first Doctor. Of course, it's Emily grew up watching, or didn't grow up here when we got together. I introduced her to Doctor Who, and she started with the newer stuff with number 9. I started, of course, when it was on PBS in the 80s, and Sylvester was my first, and you were my first companion, of course. Ace, yay. I had fond memories of watching, so we're very excited to be here chatting with you. This is the pleasure.
Oh, it's a pleasure for me. And it's so funny, isn't it? It's so true what you said about your first Doctor is always like your first love in a way. Yeah. And mine was, we must have, I was around when Patrick Troughton, and William Hartnell, but I was only tiny. So Patrick Troughton was around, but I don't think we had a TV then. And then we did get a TV, and it was one of those old box sets with an aerial on the back that you had to keep adjusting, and you'd sometimes get a signal, you sometimes wouldn't. So the first Doctor I really remember is John Pertwee, and he was just like, oh, so great. And then of course with Joe Grant and then Sarah Jane, they were my assistants. Sure. Really. And I remember being absolutely furious when we were on our way to some holiday somewhere, and my mum was reading the paper, and she just casually said, "Oh, there's going to be a new Doctor Who. Yeah, John Pertwee's not doing it anymore. It's going to be somebody called Tom Baker." And no, how can that be? He'll be rubbish.
Carrying a cake, you throw it down. This cannot be.
Exactly.
I love it.
And how wrong I was.
How did the process of you becoming Ace? How did that whole process happen for you?
Oh, well, that was amazing, actually, because I had got my first kind of proper job in theatre, and I was I went to an open audition for Fiddler on the Roof at the Opera House in Manchester, and Topol was reprising his role that he did in the film.
Sure.
And I was understudying Hoddle, the second daughter, and in the back row of the chorus. And my agent, who I'd recently got, she'd put me up for 3 episodes of Doctor Who, and they wanted to see me. So I went down to London one morning because I had to go down early to get back for the show in the evening. And, of course, the ticket was really expensive, and I just, this is really annoying. And I saw the director, did my piece, had a little interview with him, got back on the train and thought, that was a waste of time and money. And then a couple of weeks later, I had a recall and had to get another train fare down to the BBC, met the producer, John Nathan Turner, who asked me to read a piece which actually later was something that was Ace's speech from Dragonfire, my first story. And again, I was in there for about 10 minutes, got on the train and thought, no, more money wasted, more time wasted. And then I went into probably another couple of weeks later, I went into the theatre one evening. There were notes for me all over the board backstage saying, ring your agent, ring your agent, ring your agent. No mobile phones in those days,
Right.
of course, and I didn't even have a phone in the flat I was staying. And so I called my agent, but first of all I had to go on stage and do the first scene because it was getting late. So I came off after doing Tradition, and we were all in our costumes and everything. Went to the backstage little phone booth they had there, rang my agent, and she was really cross with me. She said, "Oh, where have you been?" And I said, "Well, I've just been in Manchester, sorry, I didn't realise." And she said, "Well, you've got the job," she said really crossly. "But it's much more complicated than that. I'll have to ring you back." And I put the phone down and, what? This is unbelievable. And she rang me back and she said, "They don't just want you for 3 episodes. They're thinking of you for the new assistant." And can you imagine, from the back row of the chorus to, I'd never even been screen tested or in a TV studio. And then the funny thing was, I came out of the phone box completely bewildered, and the first person I saw was John Scott Martin, who was playing the rabbi in our production, and he'd been in Doctor Who for years, playing the insides of Daleks and Zarbies and things like that. And we'd all been teasing him about this. Anyway, he reached inside his rabbi's costume, pulled out a postcard and gave it to me. And it was a BBC publicity photo of 3 Daleks. And I turned it over, and on the back it said, "Welcome to the family. You will not be exterminated." And it was amazing. And then the very next scene that I had to go on for was a scene called the gossip scene. And it's all about how there's a new sewing machine and blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
Anyway, we all ran on stage, and the chorus, everyone was going, "Have you heard, have you heard?" It was meant to be, "Have you heard, there's a new sewing machine." And blah, blah, blah. It was, have you heard, Sophie's got the part in Doctor Who. Isn't it brilliant? Isn't it fantastic? Isn't it great? And I was standing there shell-shocked. And then Topol came onto the stage, and he's meant to go down stage left, look over towards the group, and then and say his lines. Anyway, he came down stage left. He walked slowly across the front of the stage, put his arms round me in a big hug and said, "Well done, Sophie," and then walked back across the stage and carried on with the show. I mean, what the audience must have thought, I don't know. But it was brilliant. It was so great.
I love it.
Wonderful story.
I don't. You don't hear stuff like that
You're right.
anymore.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because nowadays the people on the internet know you have a job before you do. I mean, the casting is always leaked and things like that. So that moment of connection and that direct, you've got the part, and the spreading like a wave, it just doesn't exist anymore, which is sad. But I'm thrilled that they expanded you. I knew that they had the initial plan was for 3 episodes, and then you ended up with nine full stories with him, which is phenomenal. So
yes, because at the end of Dragonfire, Ace was meant to go off with Tony Selby, with Glitz, the character. And then years later, I found out from Andrew Cartmel, who was our script editor, that Ace and Glitz were meant to have a bit of a thing. Now, that completely passed me by, and Tony as well. So, yeah, that was really extraordinary. I mean, he was a bit like a sort of Han Solo character, and it was like, I was going to go off back in the Millennium Falcon, this clapped-out old piece of junk that he had. And of course, because Bonnie Langford decided that she was going to leave, the final scene, Sylvester said, we came to shoot the scene, and he said, you can't just leave it like, bye, you've got to do something. So Andrew Cartmel and the writer of Dragonfire, called Ian Briggs, went out to the tea bar and wrote this scene on a napkin, and they learnt it at the last minute. And the scene was based on Sylvester's audition tape that he'd done. It was like a beautiful speech that Andrew had written for him, and I think Janet Fielding, who played Tegan, she came and did his audition with him, and he said, that's what I want to say. And they had this really lovely, beautiful, touching scene that was written absolutely at the last minute, and she went off with Tony Selby, and I stayed in the TARDIS with the Doctor.
It's amazing.
It's a pretty good
deal. That's
deal.
the right choice.
That way, it was such a fun episode, that Dragonfire, with because it was one of the few episodes, I think, where you got that kind of the cross of the companions with Mel and Ace there together. And I think if you didn't know the backstory of the kind of the companion role being handed over to you, that people wouldn't know who was staying and who was going. And of course with Glitz and the Crystal Dragon and all that, it was just a very, very, very fun story to begin with. So
yes, I like the way that Ace. She calls Bonnie Langford Donut. I think that's so brilliant. I'd forgotten that until somebody reminded me recently. Bonnie Langford, probably the tiniest person on the planet. I was at least double her size, and ending up calling her Donut. I like that.
Emily, she's got this chair is going to. I feel it like moving, and something's going to happen. Emily, you've got a theater background, and it sounds like you've got a theater background as well. Do you ladies feel that Doctor Who would work as a theatrical production? Because originally, that's kind of how it all started, right? So it feels like television and entertainment has almost made a full circle, with the only difference and the only exception being, instead of it being on television, now it's more internet based. So like if they did some sort of a theatrical live type of a thing, but on the internet, do you think that would work?
I mean, theatre is a very difficult medium to film. You never get the same feeling. You never get... It's quite unsatisfactory, I would say, on film. So, but there was a Doctor Who musical, wasn't there, with John Pertwee, and then I think he fell ill, and David Banks, who played the cyber leader, he took over from John for a while. Yeah. So there has been a Doctor Who musical. I mean, I certainly think there would be room for it. But now you've got these amazing things, live shows like the Spectacular, which is amazing. It's all the music from Doctor Who and the kind of, Peter Davidson's doing it, and the effects and I think in a way that has kind of replaced what could be a theatre show of Doctor Who, this sort of big spectacular event. I don't know. What do you think, Emily?
I think it would be obviously awesome, but I think that, like you said, it would be so hard to capture what you can capture on film on a live stage. But it definitely would be it would be very different to have an audience watching Doctor Who. Like, I think that would be a really cool element, to have a live a live audience and kind of be interactive in a way, like, so we're not sitting watching it on the screen, we're sitting watching it unfold in front of us, and we can almost reach out and touch it. I think that would be really interesting.
We get the luxury, Emily and I did, we got to watch the 50th anniversary episode live in a theater with a group of a couple hundred people, and that was cool to kind of be there and feeding off the energy of fans and things like that. So I think there'll be some kind of opportunity for it.
Yeah.
Well, outstanding.
Something to think about.
Well, thank you so much for taking some time and hanging out with us here and chatting about Doctor Who.
Oh, it's a real pleasure. I know you've got to run off now to do some stuff, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
We're never a dull moment for
guys.
us, yes. So.
Indy Pop Con, it's busy for everybody.
Yes.
Well,
so.
thank you very much for having me on.
Yeah,
Thank you
Sophie,
so
it was
much.
a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily, thank you.
Oh, yeah, anytime.
Tony,
Pitch you.
thank you.
Ah.
This has been an Amalgam Podcast Network production. Executive producer Jared Wade. For more information, please visit amalgampodcastnetwork.com.